So a friend and I were having a conversation maybe a few days ago, and we were talking about how our kids used to play with Legos or My Little Pony, and now the conversation has changed. Seemingly overnight, now we're talking about cars and driver's license and college. It seems that time just moved so fast between when they were little to now when they're getting older. One of the reasons I love our tradition of following Jesus is that we actually use time. We use time in a way that slows it down and that makes it intentional. We use the calendar as a tool for discipleship. The season that we're in now is the season of Lent, a time where we intentionally set aside time to engage in disciplines like prayer and fasting and generosity to the poor as a way of reminding us of our need for generosity and Jesus' prayers for us and his sacrifice on the cross for us. The end of Lent is this special week. We call it Holy Week. And I don't know what your tradition has been, but in the past, Holy Week is this season where we walk through this week, where we walk through the last week of Jesus' life. And we walk through it with real intentionality. Intentionally, we come together to celebrate this last week and to enter fully into it so that our joy on Easter can be that much more beautiful. Holy Week is coming up here in a few weeks. It begins with Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday is the Sunday where we remember Jesus is entering into Jerusalem, beginning that final week of his life, his final journey towards the cross. He's met outside of Jerusalem with shouts of Hosanna and waving of palm branches. One of the ways that we here at Good Shepherd Anglican here in Cornelius, North Carolina, celebrate Palm Sunday is that our Sunday morning service doesn't begin in the sanctuary. It actually begins outside. It begins in the parking lot where we wave palm branches and where we remember that moment of Jesus entering in to shouts of Hosanna, shouts that would soon be replaced with shouts of crucify him. And so we enter in together, into worship together, led by kids, entering in with songs and with praise. The joy of Palm Sunday then enters us into Holy Week. Tuesday morning of Holy Week, we gather together in prayer. It's been our custom at Good Shepherd to gather on Tuesday mornings and to pray the daily office of morning prayer. But the Tuesday of Holy Week is a little bit special. It's a little bit different. So we gather together, we pray morning prayer, and then we celebrate the Eucharist together. That leads us forward through the week, and we get to Thursday. Thursday is called Maundy Thursday. Maundy is a word where we get the word mandate or command. It's when Jesus told his disciples that this command I give you, that you love one another, that we are a people of love, a people who have received love, and a people who freely give love. And we are commanded to love one another. So during that service, we remember Jesus showing us this through the Lord's Supper, through that Passover meal. And so we celebrate that evening the Eucharist together, remembering that it was Jesus who instituted this banquet, this feast, and welcomes us in love to the table. The other part of our Maundy Thursday service is we wash feet. Foot washing is part of the New Testament story. Jesus at that dinner takes his robes, puts on a towel, and washes his disciples' feet. And if the thought of maybe somebody washing your feet makes you feel a little uncomfortable, you're in good company. It made the disciples very uncomfortable. But it still is an act of love. It's a way that we are served and that we show love to one another. So for those who wish that evening, they may come forward and have their feet washed and wash the feet of others. Maundy Thursday ends not with a dismissal, but it ends in quiet. It ends with what we call the stripping of the altar. It ends with a turn from this feast of love and service and humility to a remembering that Good Friday is the day that Christ went to the cross and that he died. And so we take away all the finer trappings of the church. We put them aside. We drape black cloth over the cross. We remember that the goodness of Maundy Thursday is suddenly replaced with the darkness of Good Friday. So that enters us into Good Friday. It's interesting, Maundy Thursday and Good Friday and the Easter Vigil, they are one long service. So Maundy Thursday begins, but there's no dismissal. We exit in silence. And Good Friday enters in silence and ends in silence. And then we end into the Easter service. It begins and ends in a beautiful way. It creates this kind of 3-day long service where we remember those last moments of Christ's life. Good Friday here at Good Shepherd is marked by the Stations of the Cross, which are available for you to walk through personally at your own pace from 11:30 to 1:30 in the afternoon. Then in the evening, we will have our 6:30 Good Friday service. I would encourage you, join us for that if you are able, or if there's a church close to you. Find a Good Friday service. Mark these last moments of Jesus' life. We dismiss then, where we leave the sanctuary in quiet. We do not dismiss on Good Friday. And for us, in our tradition, there is an Easter service called the Easter Vigil. Our Easter Vigil is personal this year. We will gather corporately next year for an actual service of Easter Vigil. But I would encourage you on that Holy Saturday to be quiet, to be intentionally still, to remember that it is Saturday that Christ's body laid in the tomb, that in fact he did die, did not pass out. It wasn't a ruse. He actually died. He descended to the dead. But then the stillness of Holy Saturday, the darkness of Good Friday is broken with the joy of Easter Sunday, of Resurrection Sunday. We gather in the morning on the first day of the week to remember that he is not here, that he is risen, that the Lord is risen indeed. And so we gather in celebration with shouts of praise and acclamation and joy, and we celebrate the triumph of Jesus Christ over the grave, over sin, and over death. I would encourage you, find a way to mark that morning in a special and unique way. Our services are at 8:30 and 10:30. If you're in the North Carolina, Cornelius, Lake Norman area, we'd love for you to come be a part of those. But if you're not, then find a local church that celebrates the resurrection, the bodily resurrection of Jesus Christ, because it changes everything for the Christian. God bless you. I hope that you have a holy week and a joyful Easter.